action, drama, and crazy set pieces. That's how we would define the season that partially helped save NBC in the 80s. The A-Team was not just a show about soldiers with dark pasts attempting crazy missions, it was also their personalities that really gave the show its signature specialty. But have you ever wondered what it is that the actors behind our beloved Soldiers of Fortune are doing now? Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. In this video, we will go over the cast of the A-Team and see what they're up to now. First up, John Hannibal Smith, played by George Pappard. If there's anything that the hit show had in spades, it was men with incredibly cool field names. John Hannibal Smith is just one of them. However, John Hannibal Smith was not just any other member of the team. He was the one with the cool cigar, which blew incredible puffs, and his one-liners deserve a place in the TV Hall of Fame. Hannibal was always in the right place at the right time, too, making sure that the A-Team found success in its plans effortlessly. Well, we all knew how important Hannibal was to the team, but where is he now, and what's he up to? Born in 1928, George Pappard was one of the most famous actors of his time. One of his most iconic roles include him starring in the hit film Breakfast at Tiffany's, and the other, of course, being Hannibal Smith in the A-Team. He was 55 when he got the role that would propel him further into stardom. Unfortunately, less than a decade after the final episode of the A-Team aired, George Pappard passed away in Los Angeles, California. Pappard's memory lives on, though, in the form of the incredible art he has been a part of and the family he has left behind. Pappard has had 4 public partners, which include Helen Davies, Elizabeth Ashley, Sherry Booker, Alexis Adams, and Laura Taylor. Rest in peace, George Pappard. Your incredible talent will always live on through TV screens and memories of so many people from the 80s. Second is Templeton Faceman Peck, played by Dirk Benedict. The sweet talker in the team. The one who looked so good and talked even better. Faceman Peck was a crucial member of the team. Having the ability to con like none other, the smarts to outsmart everyone, and the ability to hold up an entire team of ex-Army personnel as their second in command. Peck wasn't just a pretty face and a silver tongue adored by all the ladies, although he certainly was that. He was much more. He was a man with a good heart and a love for his faith. That was all he really ever loved properly, though, much to the dismay of several ladies. What is the actor for Faceman Peck doing nowadays, then? Dirk Benedict celebrated his birthday on the 1st of March, 1945. Born at the end of the Second World War, Benedict was heading headfirst into a world where action movies would rule the box office. As an actor, there were bound to be several opportunities for him, and he took them really early in his career. He starred in Chopper 1, a show about, you guessed it, helicopters. And if you're watching this, then you may know that this wouldn't be the first time he stars in a show involving helicopters. However, before becoming the lovable Peck, he starred in Battlestar Galactica as Lieutenant Starbuck. At the age of 38, he got the break that propelled him into megastardom. He became a part of the A-Team, and the rest is history. Today, Benedict is 77 years old, living the life. He was in a relationship with Tony Hudson, who split with him in 1995. Benedict also is a wonderful survivor, fighting a fierce battle against cancer and beating it, living to see another day. Atop that brilliant achievement, Dirk Benedict has amassed a net worth of over $1.5 million, and it seems like this will keep growing. Next up, Howling Mad Murdoch, played by Dwight Schultz. Probably the coolest name in the team, and if you're a fan of the helicopters, Howling Mad Murdoch may well be the coolest person on the team too. Was he really mad, though? We'll leave that for you to decide. Was he incredible at the job he did? Absolutely. Hannibal knew he could always count on Howling Mad Murdoch to do his job, and do it as well as really anyone else in that universe. While all of that's incredibly interesting, let's ask the same question again. What is the actor behind Howling Mad Murdoch, Dwight Schultz, doing these days? Well, Schultz was someone who got his start in television in 1981, as he played a role in the cop show Chips. However, his actual big break came 2 years later with, you guessed it, The A-Team. At the time of the pilot, Schultz was just 36 years old, slowly coming into his own as an actor. That could not be further from how he played his role, though. No one could have ever guessed, if they didn't already know, that Schultz was a rookie in acting. In fact, Howling Mad Murdoch became one of the fan favorites from the TV show, and he continued to hold this prize status throughout the show's 4-year run. In 2022, at the age of 74, Schultz is still incredibly active in film conventions, and, much to the pleasure of the A-Team fans, he still constantly stays in touch with the fandom. He's been married happily for 39 years to the actress who played Gene Hackney in Knots Landing, Wendy Fulton. Schultz, as of 2022, has a net worth of over $3 million, significantly higher than that of Benedict because of the roles he has received over his time as an actor. He was a mainstay in really big franchises like Big Ten, Wolfenstein, and even Star Trek. All of this has led to Schultz being one of the most popular actors of his generation, and a true icon of cinema and TV. Finally, Bad Attitude Baracus, played by Mr. T. Last, but certainly not the least, we have Bad Attitude Baracus. Continuing the tradition of having one of the coolest names on 80s television, Bad Attitude Baracus was the team's fix man, always knowing how to get through a sticky situation like none other. He also, in our opinion, had one of the coolest haircuts on television in that period, and we still pity the fool who tries to one-up this iconic hairstyle. He was also famously not a fan of choppers, as he constantly made it be known. His time as Baracus was, and remains, a staple in action TV shows, and it is a performance hardly ever topped by action stars. Mr. T's big break came a year before B.A. Baracus made his television debut. In 1982, Sylvester Stallone cast him for Rocky III, a blockbuster hit which first featured his iconic phrase, "I pity the fool." Coming from one blockbuster to a television smash, Mr. T sure had a brilliant 5 years, and his popularity still remains strong because of those two roles. He was just 31 by the time the A-Team rolled around, and it shot him to superstardom almost immediately. Even with all of that, Mr. T had a few unsavory incidents at the shooting of the show. This included the loss of a family member and some issues following it. Mr. T handled it like the champion that he is, and had a wonderful run in the 4th season. We've all seen movies with high-speed chases and a fight against the morally corrupt leaders of the underbelly of large cities. Before there was The Transporter, there was The Taxi Driver, the 1976 movie which sees Robert De Niro take up the lead role. The critically acclaimed film generated both critics and admirers. But you might be wondering, where is the cast today? Here's a look at them 46 years later. First up, a look at the leading man, Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro portrays the main character of taxi driver Travis Bickle. Travis is a 26-year-old man suffering from PTSD after fighting the Vietnam War. He's known for showing violent tendencies, something he challenged by becoming an anti-hero and killing people who he thinks deserve it. By the end of the movie, Travis is considered a heroic vigilante after he murders Sport, a client of Iris, a child prostitute, and the bouncer. Robert only earned $35,000 for his role in Taxi Driver. Born on August 17, 1943, Robert was about 31 years old at the start of the filming of Taxi Driver, turning 32 nearly halfway through the making. Currently, he's 78 years old and living his best life. Robert first got married to Diane Abbott in 1976, but the marriage didn't last long. Nearly 9 years after his first divorce in 1988, Robert married Grace Hightower in 1997. Their marriage is still intact. As for children, Robert has a total of 6 from both his wives: Drenna De Niro, Raphael De Niro, Helen Grace De Niro, Elliot De Niro, Julian Henry De Niro, Aaron Kendrick De Niro. Robert had a relatively successful acting career, best known for his role in Godfather 2. Robert's estimated to have a salary of about $35 million, and, like every rich person, owns multiple properties. He prefers his Manhattan home in New York above everything else. Living in a house of $24 million with a dozen cars, Robert doesn't only gain his money from acting, but also owns Nobu, a world-famous restaurant. Next up, the one everything starts with, Jodie Foster. Jodie Foster played Iris in Taxi Driver. Iris is an important character. Iris is a child prostitute whom Travis meets. He tries to convince her to leave prostitution. After his failed attempt at assassinating Palantine, he drives up to the house of Assignation, Iris's workplace, and brutally murders 2 people. Near the end of the movie, Iris's father is seen giving him his thanks for what Travis did. Jodie Foster was 12 at the time of the filming, being born on November 19, 1962. She's currently 59. Jodie continued her work in acting for quite some time, but by the 2000s, she decided to take up fewer and fewer roles, instead focusing on directing. Jodie first got together with Sidney Bernard in 1993 and dated him till 2008. They have 2 children together, 21-year-old Charlie and 17-year-old Kit. She's made a conscious decision to keep both of them out of the media's eye. She dated Alexandra Hedison, an actress and photographer, for about a year before getting married in April 2014. Jodie has stayed relatively private about her lifestyle. She won the Cecil B. DeMille Award, which is an honorary Golden Globe award. In her speech, she acknowledged that she was raising her 2 sons with her ex, whom she considers being her best friend, rather than anything romantic, seeing as how she came out as a lesbian. Thirdly, Sybil Shepherd, who played Betsy, the love interest. Sybil Shepherd took upon the role of Betsy, Travis's love interest. She works as a campaign volunteer for Palantine. Entering the campaign, Travis manages to ask her on a date, which goes pretty well. However, the second date isn't as successful as the first one, as he takes her to a porn theater, causing Betsy to storm out, repulsed. At the end of the movie, we can see that things are going well for them again, hinting at a future relationship. Sybil is currently 72 years old. She was born on February 18, 1950, and was 25 when filming Taxi Driver. Shepherd continued her acting career and made a name for herself. She actively appeared in Do You Believe in 2015. Besides that, she's also known for her modeling career. She started in her teenage years and really took off after winning the Miss Teenage Memphis title. Sybil first married David M. Ford in 1978, but proceeded to get a divorce hardly half a decade later. Again, 5 years later, she married Bruce Oppenheim, and this time for only 3 years, from 1987 to 1990. Sybil has a daughter with Ford named Clementine Ford. With Bruce, she has a set of twins, Cyrus Zachariah and Molly Ariel Shepherd Oppenheim. Sybil has previously played a big role in the film industry, but she's also impacted others outside of it. She's an outspoken activist for a number of issues plaguing this world, namely human rights and abortion rights. In 2009, Human Rights Campaign honored her active role in Atlanta by giving her one of 2 National Ally for Equality awards. Number 4 on the list, what's Peter Boyle up to? Having played a variety of roles in films like Joe, The Candidate, Young Frankenstein, Taxi Driver, and The X-Files, Peter Lawrence Boyle was a well-known character actor. Born in 1935 on October 18th, he passed away at 71 years of age on December 12, 2006. Perhaps his most beloved films up to date were the 1970 film Joe and 1976's Taxi Driver. Boyle was born in the U.S. in Norristown, Pennsylvania, later moving to Philadelphia with his parents and 2 elder sisters. He joined the U.S. Navy in 1959, but had to quit after having a nervous breakdown. He then started studying under acting coach Uta Hagen in HB Studio in New York City. The actor eventually passed away in the same city due to heart disease and multiple myeloma. Now, let's take a look at Harvey Keitel's work. Harvey Keitel is an actor and producer born in New York on May 13, 1939, and is currently 83 years old. He is famous for portraying morally ambiguous characters in movies. He's had a good relationship with director Martin Scorsese and has acted in 6 of his films, including Taxi Driver. He was 38 years old during the filming of Taxi Driver. Keitel was in a relationship with Lorraine Bracco from 1982 to 1993. However, his relationship with her ended on sour terms and resulted in a long custody battle over their daughter Stella. The actor had 2 more children, a son named Hudson from his relationship with Liza Karmazin, and another son named Roman after his marriage to his current wife in 2001, Daphne Kastner. Keitel started his career in 1967 after he secured a starring role as J.R. in Martin Scorsese's first feature film, Who's That Knockin' at My Door? He is still active currently, co-producing and starring in Quentin Tarantino's Reservoir Dogs. That's a wrap for this video. See you in the next one. That theme song brings back the nostalgia of the 1984 supernatural comedy Ghostbusters. No doubt a cultural phenomena. It was the highest grossing comedy film of the time, and the second highest grossing film of 1984. Some of the cast members got their big breakthrough in this feature, and we're about to explore who. In this video, we'll take you through the lives of the cast members of Ghostbusters and show you where they are now. First up, we have the lead actor, Peter Venkman, portrayed by Bill Murray. Born in Illinois, USA, the 34-year-old actor was perfect for the lead. But before that, he was loved for his deadpan comedy writings. His successful comedy features include Meatballs, Caddyshack, Stripes, Tootsie, and Charlie's Angels. He won a Golden Globe and BAFTA for his performance in Sofia Coppola's Lost in Translation, which was a complete shift in his line of roles. He even played Franklin D. Roosevelt in the historical comedy Hyde Park on Hudson, for which he earned a Golden Globe nomination for Best Actor. He was married to Margaret Kelly for 15 years and Jennifer Butler for 11 years and has 6 children. His voiceover work has also put him in the top spot as Garfield in Garfield the Movie and Tale of Two Kitties, Clive Badger in Fantastic Mr. Fox, and even Baloo in the live-action adaptation of Disney's The Jungle Book. He turned 71 this year and has a net worth of $185 million as of 2022. Amazing, right? Next up, we have Dr. Raymond Stantz, played by Dan Aykroyd. Born in Ontario, Canada, the 32-year-old was loved throughout the whole Ghostbusters franchise. His earliest roles included being on Saturday Night Live from 1975 to 1979, and also in the 1980 film The Blues Brothers. He's also acknowledged for his role as Bully Worthen in the 1989 film Driving Miss Daisy, for which he was nominated for Best Supporting Actor. As a businessman, he co-founded the House of Blues chain of music venues, and as a musician, founded the Crystal Head Vodka Band. He's been married to Donna Lynn Dixon since 1983 and has 3 kids. He was even part of the 2021 Ghostbusters Afterlife alongside Bill Murray and Annie Potts. His writing also led him to win a Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Writing in a Comedy Variety for his SNL bit in 1977. His philanthropic work involves starting the Blue Line Foundation, which is redeveloping flood-damaged lots in New Orleans and helping first responders buy them at reduced prices. Dan turned 70 this year and has amassed a net worth of $250 million. The third character from the series was Dana Barrett, the cellist with the Haunted House, played by Sigourney Weaver. Born in New York City, the 35-year-old American actress has had a fantastic acting career, alongside being an influential figure in science and popular culture. She's adored in the sci-fi community for playing Ellen Ripley in the Alien franchise, Dana in the Ghostbusters franchise, and Dr. Grace in Avatar. She's earned 1 BAFTA, 2 Golden Globes, 3 Academy, and 3 Primetime Emmy Awards in her career. She's also done extensive voiceover work for Pixar films like WALL-E and Finding Dory, and also TV shows like Futurama, Penn Zero, and SpongeBob SquarePants. She is married to stage director Jim Simpson since 1984 and has a child named Charlotte. An interesting fact about her life is that after making Gorillas in the Mist, for which she got an Academy Award nomination, She became a supporter of the Dian Fossey Gorilla Fund, a charity devoted to protecting endangered mountain gorillas. She turned 72 this year and has amassed a net worth of $60 million as of 2022. Now comes the brains of the Ghostbusters, Egon Spengler, who was portrayed by Harold Ramis. Born in Chicago, Illinois, the 40-year-old comedian, director, and writer was loved for his role in the first two Ghostbusters, and as Russell Zisky in Stripes. Before that, he starred in the review The National Lampoon Show. But it was writing that gave him a head start into stardom. He wrote sketches for SCTV, and was even offered to write for Saturday Night Live, but refused due to prior commitment to SCTV. He later co-wrote Meatballs, and his directorial debut was Caddyshack, both of which were commercial successes. He was in the stages of writing the third Ghostbusters movie in 2009 for release around 2012, which was a reboot of the franchise. But the production was delayed, and due to ill health, Ramis passed away on the 24th of February 2014. Many paid tribute at the time of his death, even then President of America, Barack Obama. He ended his written tribute by saying he hoped Ramis received total consciousness, which was a reference to a line from Caddyshack. He was 69 at the time of his passing and had amassed a net worth of $90 million. Next up, we have the nerdy accountant and neighbor of Dana, Louis Tully, played by Rick Moranis. Born in Toronto, Ontario, the 31-year-old actor, writer, comedian, and producer was the choice for many major film roles like Strange Brew, Little Shop of Horrors, Spaceballs, and even the popular Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. He also appeared in movies like Parenthood, My Blue Heaven, and The Flintstones. He was married to costume designer Ann Belsky in 1986, who later passed away in 1991. As a single father of two, he took a long break from acting to dedicate more time to his family. He didn't appear in any live-action films for over 20 years, but took on minor voiceover roles, like in Disney's Brother Bear, and released comedy albums. After 23 years, he signed a contract to appear in a new sequel to Honey, I Shrunk the Kids called Shrunk, which will be released soon. He turned 69 this year and has amassed a net worth of $10 million. For being the Ghostbusters secretary in the franchise to playing Sheldon's Meemaw in Young Sheldon, say hello to Annie Potts. Born in Nashville, Tennessee, the 32-year-old was adored for her work in Corvette Summer and Heartaches before she did Ghostbusters. She is also the friendly voice of Bo Peep from the Toy Story franchise. Her role on TV shows includes playing Dana Palladino on Love and War, Luann Johnson in Dangerous Minds, and also for playing Mary Elizabeth Sims in Any Day Now. She's been a nominee at the Screen Actors Guild, Primetime Emmys, Golden Globes, and Critics' Choice Awards. She was first married to Stephen Hartley from 1973 to 1978, then to Greg Antonacci from 1978 to 1980, then to B. Scott Seneschal from 1981 to 1989, and finally, James Heyman from 1990 onwards. She turned 69 this year and has amassed a net worth of $8 million. Finally, we have the everyman of the Ghostbusters team and the voice of common sense, Winston Zeddemore, played by Ernie Hudson. Born in Michigan, USA, the 39-year-old at the time was a top choice for many features like Sergeant Daryl Albrecht in The Crow and Warden Leo Glynn on HBO's Oz. He also gained commendable success in features like Leviathan, The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, Airheads, and even Miss Congeniality. After a while, Hollywood preferred him for police roles, like in the TV show Law and Order, LA's Finest, and 10-8, Officers on Duty. Who can forget the popular 1984 American buddy cop comedy Beverly Hills Cop? It became an immediate blockbuster, giving Eddie Murphy the international stardom he deserves. Not just him, but the whole cast's excellent side roles led to this movie becoming the highest-grossing film released in 1984 in the US. In this video, we'll take you through the lives of the cast members of Beverly Hills Cop and where they are now. First up, we have the infamous actor, comedian, and the beloved voice behind the donkey from Shrek, or should I say, a flying, talking donkey.
That's right, fool! Now I'm a flying, talking donkey!
Eddie Murphy. From Brooklyn, New York, the 23-year-old flawlessly portrayed the street-smart Detroit cop named Axel Foley. Before this, he was a regular cast member on Saturday Night Live from 1980 to 1984. His work in stand-up comedy earned him the 10th spot in Comedy Central's 100 Greatest Stand-Ups of All Time. For his work in the Beverly Hills Cop series, he earned Golden Globe nominations. Fun fact, the 4th installment of Beverly Hills Cop is coming to Netflix, and Eddie Murphy is set to return to his iconic role. Impressive, right? Despite superb acting and an impressive voiceover career, he's also pursued a singing career. His 2 hit singles, Party All the Time and Mouth on Me, shot his singing career upwards. In 2013, he released a reggae song with Snoop Dogg. Want to know the craziest part? He's only been married twice, has had multiple relationships and engagements, and has 10 kids. Crazy, right? He turned 61 this year and has amassed a net worth of $600 million. He sometimes lives in his penthouse in upscale New York or his mansion in Florida. Alongside Detective Axel Foley was the brilliant Detective William Billy Rosewood, played by Judge Reinhold. Born and raised in Delaware, USA, the 27-year-old had a bit of hard luck before gaining popularity. After securing a supporting role in the comedy Stripes, which was a big hit, he later got a role in the comedy Pandemonium, which was sadly a flop. To history, his first major role will always be in the movie Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which also included Sean Penn, Forest Whitaker, and Nicolas Cage. It was the Beverly Hills Cop franchise that gave him his shot for the spotlight. He later appeared in another flop feature, Vice Versa, and that's when, according to him, the phone stopped ringing. He was married to Carrie Fraser for a year, but's now married to Amy Miller since 2000. As of 2022, he is 65 and has a net worth of $7 million. Despite his bad luck, one of the things that's kept him down is his arrogance. In 2016, he was arrested at LAX airport for disorderly conduct. Will that stop him from appearing in the 4th Beverly Hills Cop? Let's see. Next up, we have Sergeant John Taggart, played by John Ashton. Born and raised in Springfield, Massachusetts, he was 36 years old at the time of joining the cast, but saw very little high-profile success. Other than the first 2 Beverly Hills Cop movies, he's also known for his role in Some Kind of Wonderful, starring Eric Stoltz, and Midnight Run, starring Robert De Niro. His background in theater led him to land TV shows like The A-Team, The Day Lincoln Was Shot, and Elvis and the Beauty Queen. His first wife was Victoria Marie Runn, who only lasted 2 years. Ashton has 2 kids and currently resides in Fort Collins, Colorado. He turns 74 this year and has amassed a net worth of $5 million. He shared that he would like to reprise his role in the rumored 4th edition of the Beverly Hills Cop franchise and even Midnight Run 2, both of which were the starlight of his career. Remember Jenny? No, not Forrest Gump, but the childhood friend of Axel Foley, who reunites with him to solve murders? Well, she was portrayed by Lisa Albacher, the retired American actress. Born in Dhahran, Saudi Arabia, and raised in France, the 28-year-old saw earlier fame from An Officer and a Gentleman, starring Richard Gere. As a child actor, she appeared on such shows as My Three Sons and Gunsmoke. After Beverly Hills Cop, she did short TV series like Logan's Run, Bad Ronald, and This House Possessed. It wasn't until 919 Fifth Avenue in 2000 that she decided to announce her retirement. From that point on, she's led a quiet, peaceful life married to a photographer, Bradford May, and they've been married since 1988. She has yet to make any public appearances since then. Her salary is unknown to the media, so that must mean civilian life must be suiting her. Now, enough with the small-timers. It's now time for someone who made it big. Next up, we have the character Victor Maitland, brilliantly portrayed by the British actor Steven Berkoff. Born in London, the 47-year-old has pursued the villainous persona in various roles, like the James Bond film Octopussy, Lieutenant Colonel Podofsky in Rambo First Blood 2, and even Adolf Hitler in War and Remembrance. Other than acting, he's a brilliant playwright and theater practitioner who portrayed the best of Berkovian theater. He was even in Stanley Kubrick's A Clockwork Orange as a police officer, and David Fincher's The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. He was married twice, first to Alison Minto in 1970, and then to Shelley Lee, both of which ended in divorce. He currently lives with his partner Clara Fischer, a German pianist in Limehouse. He has 2 daughters, Milia and Sarah. He turns 84 this year and has amassed a net worth of $9 million. Now, a weird fact about his life is the defamation lawsuit in 1996, where the Sunday Times journalist Julie Burchill published comments on the actor's looks. The judge ruled in favor of Burkhoff in the libel civil action lawsuit. Next up, we have Lieutenant Andrew Bogomil, portrayed by Ronnie Cox. Born in Cloudcroft, New Mexico, the 46-year-old actor, singer, and songwriter has had a successful career to this day. His best roles include Drew Bollinger in Deliverance, George Apple in Apple's Way, and his role in the Beverly Hills Cop's first 2 installments. He even appeared as Dick Jones in RoboCop, Vilos Cohagen in Total Recall, and the President in Captain America. After a while, his filmography reduced as he rejected 90% of the offered job roles to pursue his music career. Cox plays in over 100 shows at festivals and theaters every year. He was even inducted into the New Mexico Music Hall of Fame in 2019 and won the New Mexico Music Awards in 2021. Fun fact, he was even part of the Oscar-nominated feature Being the Ricardos, playing an older Bob Carroll. He turns 83 this year and has a net worth of $5 million. Finally, we have the character Michael Mikey Tandino, Axel's friend who's murdered, portrayed by James Russo. Born in New York City, he was 31 years old at the time of joining and has had over 150 films in 3 decades of his acting career. He's, however, not seen much success, like Banks, Koch, and Murphy did. Before Beverly Hills Cop, he appeared in the 1981 film Chicago Story, 1982 comedy Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and even The Cotton Club. He married Bettina Russo in 1995 and has 2 children. He turns 69 this year and has amassed a net worth of $10 million. So whose transformation do you consider most successful? Let us know in the comments section below. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Whether you like musicals or not, Grease was a classic rom-com that was loved by all. The adaptation by Alan Carr did justice to the 1971 musical, making the film the highest-grossing musical film ever at the time. It even led to a sequel, a prequel, and most recently a new series on Paramount+. Interested to know where the Grease cast members are now? Let's find out together. First up, we have the lead American actor and singer, John Travolta. Born in Englewood, New Jersey, the 24-year-old was perfect for playing the devilishly handsome Danny Zuko. It was the 70s when John was at his peak, earning roles in films like Carrie, Saturday Night Fever, and Urban Cowboy. After a dip in the 80s, he came back strong as the lead in Quentin Tarantino's infamous Pulp Fiction as Vincent Vega, for which he was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Actor. On the set of The Experts is where he met his co-star and wife, Kelly Preston, the American actress and model. They later had 3 children, 2 sons named Jet and Benjamin, and a daughter named Ella Blue. An unfortunate fact for Travolta is that he lost his son, Jet Travolta, in 2009 from seizures, and also his wife in 2020 after being diagnosed with breast cancer for 2 years. Travolta turned 68 in 2022 and has amassed a net worth of $250 million. He has 2 homes worth $25 million, one of which has a jumbo jet landing spot. Since he's a licensed private pilot, he enjoys the sky in his Boeing 727 and also has many cars, like a Mercedes-Benz, BMW, and Aston Martin. He's done pretty well for himself, right? Next up, we have British-born Australian singer and actress Olivia Newton-John. Born in Cambridge, England, the 30-year-old was adored for her role as Sandy Olsen. Her true fame comes from being a 4-time Grammy Award winner who has 5 #1 hits and many top 10 hits on the Billboard Hot 100. 11 of her singles are certified gold by the Recording Industry Association of America, making her one of the best-selling music artists from the second half of the 20th century to the present. Her success mostly stems from singing, business interests, and activism. For her work on environmental and animal rights and her immense fundraising efforts, she's awarded AC, the Order of Australia, and DBE, the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire. On the set of Xanadu, she met the actor Matt Lattanzi in 1980 and got married in 1984. They were divorced in 1995, which, according to People magazine, was due to the couple's difference in spiritual interests. They also had a daughter named Chloe Rose, who's also a singer and actress. She later married John Easterling in 2008, and they've been together ever since. In fact, the couple even purchased a new $4.1 million home in Florida and a $5.3 million 12-acre horse ranch in San Ynez Valley. Despite her ongoing battle with cancer, she turned 73 this year and has amassed a net worth of $60 million. Remember the T-Birds? Let's have a look at the first one, played by Jeff Conaway. Born in New York City, the 28-year-old portrayed the character Kenickie. He also played the struggling actor Bobby Wheeler in Taxi and security officer Zach on Babylon 5. Other than his acting, he dabbled in music by being the lead singer and guitarist for a rock band, The 3.5. He also recorded a self-titled debut album for Columbia Records. Conaway was married 3 times. The first one was to a dancer who was annulled, and the second one was Rona Newton-John. Sound familiar? She was his co-star from Grease, Olivia's elder sister. After that ended, the third marriage was to Carrie Young till 2000. After a crisis in the 1980s, he came to grips with his substance abuse problem, which plagued his friendships and relationships. His co-star Travolta supported him to take courses from the Church of Scientology to cope with his drug problem. Unfortunately, in May 2011, Conaway was found unconscious from what looked like a drug overdose. It was later confirmed that the actor was suffering from pneumonia with sepsis. He was age 60 at the time of death and had a net worth of around $500,000. Another member of the T-Birds was Barry Pearl. Born in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, the 28-year-old actor portrayed the supporting role Duty. He even had a cameo appearance as Mr. Weaver in Grease Live, the TV special in 2016. His other roles include Professor Tinkerput in the film Barney's Imagination Island, Barney's Big Surprise, and was also part of Disney Channel's Even Stevens. His career began on Broadway after he replaced Johnny Borden in Bye Bye Birdie. During the summers, he also teaches film arts across the USA to the special needs community as part of the John Travolta's Inclusion Film Company. He was married to Susan Berger from 1976 till 1992 after divorcing Marie-Elise Soap in 1970. He turns 72 this year and has amassed a net worth of $3.8 million. Enough with the T-Birds. It's now time for the Pink Ladies. First up, we have the American actress Stockard Channing. Born in New York City, the 34-year-old was loved for her portrayal of Betty Rizzo. She's also known for her role as First Lady Abby Bartlett in The West Wing, Louisa Kittredge in the film 6 Degrees of Separation, which is when she got her Academy Award nomination for Best Actress, and she's also spent ample time in theaters and Broadway shows. Channing has been married and divorced 4 times and has no children. First was Walter Channing Jr., 1963, who was a popular wood sculptor, winemaker, and venture capitalist. Her second husband was Paul Schmidt, who's a professor of Slavic languages. Thirdly, it was the actor and producer David Debin. And finally, David Roy from 1980 to 1988. She also was in a long-term relationship with cinematographer Daniel Gillam, whom she met on the set of A Time of Destiny from 1990 till he passed away in 2014. Many believe she continues to live in the UK. She turns 78 this year and has amassed a net worth of $15 million. According to reports, she paid $900,000 for a home in the Hollywood Hills in the early 2000s. She listed the house for sale in 2020 for $2.5 million. Good value for the money, right? Next up, we have the American actress Edith Didi Khan. Born in Brooklyn, New York, the 27-year-old was well known for her role as Frenchie. Other than that, she appeared as Denise Stevens in Benson and Stacey Jones in Shining Time Station. She also did voiceover work for Raggedy Ann in the animated feature Raggedy Ann and Andy. She married her first husband, Frank Kahn, from 1975 to 1978. She later married the successful composer David Shire, and they've been going strong ever since. She has a son named Daniel Shire and a stepson named Matthew Shire. Her most recent work in acting was in 2020 in The Mimic, where she plays the Gossip Lady, and the 2022 CBS series Blue Bloods as Mrs. Devlin. An interesting fact about Khan is that she's stepmother to Matthew Shire, whose actual mother is Talia Shire. Talia Shire is from the infamous Coppola family, which means she has somewhat step-family links to Francis Ford Coppola, Nicolas Cage, and Sofia Coppola. She turns 81 this year and has amassed a net worth of $5 million. Thanks for watching. As one of the world's best-selling music artists who sold over 100 million records worldwide, Def Leppard is carved in the history of heavy rock. Formed in 1977 and rocking till this day, the band has had up to 8 members in its history, leading up to the permanent 5. In this video, we'll dive into the lives of Def Leppard band members and how they were back then versus now. Let's get started. There are only 2 band members who we can say have been rocking since day one. One of them is the lead singer, songwriter, and founder of the band, Joe Elliott. Born in Sheffield, Yorkshire, he was 18 at the time of joining and was also the band's leading songwriter. He claims that the lyrics to Def Leppard's music are meant to be easily accessible by the listener. But on the other hand, he's never been good with words, especially on the live stage. His first marriage was to Carla Ramtani in 1989, which ended in 1996. He later got married to Christine Wunschel in 2004 and has 3 kids, Finlay, Lila, and Harper. He currently resides in Stepaside, Dublin, and also has a residence in Los Angeles. He has a recording studio in his Dublin home called Joe's Garage, where he has recorded and produced many incredible albums. He turned 62 this year and has amassed a net worth of $70 million. Unrelated, but in case you're wondering why he's never been good with words, in September 1983 during a performance, he told the crowd, "Last night we played in El Paso, that place with all the greasy Mexicans, and they made a lot more noise than that." Needless to say, he apologized on the El Paso radio station, and the band made a generous donation to Hispanic charities. Anyways, now we come to the second band member who's been rocking since day one, the bass guitarist and founder of the band, Rick Savage. Sharing the same hometown as Joe, he was 17 at the time of founding the band. Savage is married to Paige Savage since September 2004 and has 2 children, Tyler and Scott. He also had a child named Jordan from an earlier relationship before Paige. He is now 61 and has amassed a total net worth of $32 million as of 2022. He still lives in Sheffield to this day with his family. A scary but inspiring fact about Rick Savage is that he contracted Bell's palsy in 1994, which caused his facial muscles to weaken and become partially paralyzed. He's recovered, but many can still see some effects on his face during live performances. The third founding member of the band, but also the songwriter, was Pete Willis. The 17-year-old rock star from Sheffield co-wrote many tracks, but unlike the other 2, he was fired from Def Leppard in 1982. His dismissal came due to excessive drinking that strained his guitar-playing abilities. He later recorded with bands like Gog Magog and Roadhouse till 2003, when he officially left the music business and started his own property management company in Sheffield. He's married to Lindsay Smith ever since 1985. He now lives with his family in Crooks, Sheffield. Despite a 6-year run, he was also inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a member of Def Leppard in 2019. He turned 62 and still runs the property management business. Because of this, he's amassed a net worth of $1.5 million. The interesting story of how the 3 founders knew each other is that they were schoolmates. Joe Elliott had one day missed the bus, which is where he met Pete Willis, who was the drummer for a local band called Atomic Mass at the time. Their friendship began almost immediately. To replace Pete Willis in 1982, in came Phil Collen, the band's 25-year-old co-lead guitarist. From Hackney, London, he was called in for an audition where he amazed Elliott with his guitar solo. Before becoming a permanent band member, he was invited for the band's 1981 tour by Joe and the band's lead guitarist. We'll get to him in a second. Back then, he was in the London-based band Girl. He was married to Jacqueline Collen in 1989, and later to Anita Thomas Collen in 1999. After that, he married actress Helen L. Simmons in 2010 and has 5 kids. He turned 64 this year and resides in Orange County, California. In 2022, his net worth racks up to $20 million. He's still rocking with the band as the co-lead guitarist. Another inspiring fact from Phil's life is that he had to leave school to work as a motorcycle dispatch rider. This lasted till his band Girl got a record contract. Also, he was self-taught. How amazing's that? Remember Pete Willis's band Atomic Mass, right? The band had a drummer who later became part of Def Leppard named Tony Kenning. Born in Sheffield, the 17-year-old drummer is also credited as the person who suggested the renaming of Def Leppard to Def Leppard. In case you're wondering why he's not amongst the founding members, it's because his time in the band was till 1978. The band thought he was not reliable enough. The news came to him just a few weeks before the recording of the Def Leppard EP. He turns 62 this year and hasn't resurfaced much in public. There weren't that many personnel changes for drums, since the band found Rick Allen. From Dronfield, Derbyshire, the 15-year-old drummer joined in 1978 and has been rockin' ever since. He had performed in bands like Grad, Smoky Blue, and Rampant. He joined, and even dropped out of school in 1979 to concentrate on his career in music. He was married to Stacy Lauren Gilbert from 1991 to 2000, but in 1995 he was also arrested for spousal abuse. He later married Lauren Monroe, a fellow musician, in 2003, and they've been together ever since. They have 2 kids, Lauren Shane and Josephine Allen. Want to know the weirdest fact? If you Google one-arm drummer, you'll find Rick Allen's profile. In 1984, he got into a car accident in which his left arm got severed. The doctors tried to surgically reattach it, but the infection led to amputation. But that didn't stop Allen from playing with Def Leppard. He adopted a specially designed electronic drum kit which pairs perfectly with his setting. He turns 58 this year, and he's amassed a net worth of $55 million. This surprisingly makes him the richest Def Leppard band member as well. Now we come to the lead guitarist lineup of the band, which started with Stephen Clark. Born in Hillsborough, Sheffield, he was the 18-year-old discovered by Pete Willis at a technical college in 1978. He was invited to audition twice, since the band needed a second guitarist, and he went the second time. He also was a songwriter and contributed to over 90% of the band's songs. Clark was nicknamed the Riff Master because of his amazing guitar riffs. He was engaged to American model Lorelei Shellist for 7 years. She revealed that Clark's addiction was the cause of the breakup. Despite the interventions in 1989 by the band members, he continued his path of alcohol abuse till he sadly passed away on the 8th of January 1991. The post-mortem revealed the cause of death to be respiratory failure due to a mix of alcohol and drugs. He was 30 years old at the time of his passing, and he had a net worth of around $5 million. After he passed away, the band felt inconsolable, especially the co-lead guitarist Phil Collen. Later, they found Vivian Campbell, the Northern Irish guitarist. He was 30 years old at the time of joining, but before Def Leppard, he was a member of the band Dio. When he joined, he fit in the band very naturally and has been rocking since then. He has 2 daughters with his ex-wife Julie Campbell. He later married his longtime girlfriend Caitlin Fenough in 2014. He turns 59 this year and currently lives in New Hampshire. Unfortunately, he's been taking it slow since his stem cell therapy in late 2014. He's been undergoing treatment ever since. So, which band member are you most amazed by? Let us know in the comments section below. Also, do tell us which Def Leppard song you love the most. Thanks for watching. See you at the next one. Who can forget the 1982 hit No One Like You from the famous German rockers The Scorpions? Despite their European origin, the band made a global impact with their heavy metal style. In this video, we'll dive into the lives of the Scorpions band members to see how they started and what they're doing now. Let's get started. Let's start with the lead guitarist of the band, Rudolf Schenker. Born in Hildesheim, Germany, he was the 17-year-old founder who's also been the songwriter behind the band's greatest hits. He also enjoys the royalties from being the CEO, owner, and manager of the band's music production and publishing company, the Sound Studios. Rudolf got married in 1966 to Margaret Schenker, which ended in 2003 and has 1 child. Rudolf is still rockin' hard at age 73. In fact, their newest and 19th studio album was released on the 25th of February 2022 globally. He reportedly has a net worth of $80 million from his impressive music career. He also is the proud owner of the 2,500 square foot house in Los Angeles, where he spends most of his off-tour days. Here's a fun fact. Rudolf Schenker was also an actor and composer of the Dark Horse comic book-inspired movie Hellboy in 2019. In case the surname Schenker sounds familiar to you, that must be because his elder brother Michael Schenker was the lead guitarist of the British band UFO, and the duo were called the Schenker Brothers. Later came the vocalist and songwriter Klaus Meine. He and Rudolf are the only two faces to appear on every Scorpions album cover till today. Even though the band started in 1965, he joined the band in 1969 at age 21. From Hanover, Germany, his career as a vocalist ranked him number 22 on Hit Parader's top heavy metal vocalists of all time list. You'll be surprised to know that Meine composed Winds of Change alone. Klaus is married to Gabby Meine since 1976 and has a son named Christian Meine. Klaus turned 74 this year and continues to be an integral part of the band. He has amassed a net worth of $75 million and lives in a big mansion situated in his hometown of Hanover, Germany. And here's a scary fact. After the 1981 World Tour, Meine lost his voice to the extent that he could not speak properly. Doctors had advised him to quit the Scorpions for the sake of his health. That did not stop him from seeking therapy and getting 2 vocal cord surgeries, which were successful and led him to rock on with the band to this day. The bass player position had many personnel changes before they got someone permanent. Now, at first, there was Achim Kirchhoff, who was born and raised in Germany. After joining at the age of 16, his career as a bass player lasted only 2 years. He sadly passed away on April 1st, 1977 at age 28, and the cause of death was revealed to be alcoholism. Then the next bass player was Lothar Heimberg. He joined at the age of 15 in 1967 and left the band in 1973. Replacing him was Francis Buchholz, who was age 19 at the time of joining. He left in 1992 and joined Michael Schenker's band Temple of Rock. After Francis came Ralph Reicherman in 1993, who only had a 12-year career with the band. He was 31 when he joined the band. After this crazy lineup change, they now have been rocking consistently with bassist Paweł Masiwoda. Born in Wielicka, Poland, his professional career started at age 15 under his father's encouragement. He joined the Scorpions at age 37 and was inducted as a permanent member on the 10th of January 2004. He's married to Aga Masiwoda and has 2 children, Marisha and Lucas. He turns 55 this year and has a whopping net worth of $5 million. He still lives in Poland and spends most of his days touring with the band. Now, the band also had trouble getting the right guitarist for their band. In the beginning, they had Karl-Heinz Vollmer, who joined at age 17. Born and raised in Germany, he stayed for 3 years. He turns 74 this year. After his short reign, in came Ulrich Worobiec. Born in Sarstedt, Lower Saxony, he joined at age 17 and only played with the band for 3 years. It was at this point when the band's lead called in the big brother, Michael Schenker. However, he had plans of his own and only served the band from 1969 to 1973, and also briefly from 1978 to 1979. His true name comes from the band UFO, and he also led the self-named Michael Schenker Group. He even received a Lifetime Achievement in Rock and Roll award from Vegas Rocks magazine. He was married to Linda Haber, which later ended in divorce. He has 2 children, Chinua and Essence. He turned 67 this year and has a net worth of $6 million. It was then that the band replaced him with Matthias Jebs. Born in Hanover, West Germany, the 24-year-old lead guitarist has been part of all but the first 5 Scorpions albums. It was Jebs' impressive new style of playing that led the band to have a Van Halen-like sound. Jebs has been loyal to the band from 1979 till today. He married Bisha Kuster in 2004 and has a son named Nicholas Jebs. He turned 66 this year and has accumulated a net worth of $40 million. Now, the band needed a drummer to complete the lineup. At the time the band started, their first drummer and also a founder of the band was Wolfgang Gioni. From Germany, he was 16 at the time of joining and had a good history with Rudolph. He also composed the first studio album. His 8-year drumming career in Scorpions came to an end when Jürgen Rosenthal joined the band in 1974. The 25-year-old drummer from Rosengarten was the ex-member of Ulrich's band Dawn Road. The band got small-time drummers till they met Hermann Rareball in 1977. Born in Schmetz, West Germany, he joined at age 28 and had an 18-year-long run. After that, he played with bands like The Mastermen, The Fugs Blues, and R.S. Rindfleisch. He was married to Claudia Raab, former Seven Sins saxophonist. He turns 72 this year and has a net worth of $5 million in 2022. Then came James Kotak. Born in Louisville, Kentucky, he was 34 at the time of joining and stayed with the band for 20 years, surpassing Herman. He also plays in his own self-named band, Kotak. He was married to Athena Lee. They had a child and 2 stepchildren from Athena's first marriage. Her son Miles is currently a drummer, like his father, of the rock band Bad Sons. He turns 59 this year and has a net worth of $3 million. Now the band has been successfully rocking on with their current drummer, Mickey D. From Gothenburg, Sweden, he was 53 at the time of joining. Many remember him as the last drummer for British rock band Motorhead from 1991. After that, he joined the German metal band Halloween in 2003. His specialty is having lengthy drum solos, some of which go up to 15 minutes. He has 2 sons, Max and Marcus Delaugo. He reportedly has a net worth of $9 million in 2022 and has also turned 58. So, which of these band members do you think aged well? Let us know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, and see you at the next one. Turning 20 in December, The Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers has grossed over $947 million, and its cast members have seen nothing but success since then. In this video, we're about to dive deep into the lives of these cast members and see who turned out best. In case someone didn't, just remember,
There's always hope.
First up, we have the lead character of the series, Frodo Baggins, played by Elijah Wood. Born in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, Elijah was 21 at the time of filming the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Before his days of fame, he started as a child actor, having small-time roles in Back to the Future Part 2, Avalon, The Adventures of Huck Finn, and Deep Impact. He also played voice roles in the Happy Feet film franchise, Disney's XD's Tron, and also Spyro the Dragon. He later founded the film production company Spectrevision in 2010, as a cast member for The Toxic Avenger. He was married to Pamela Racine from 2005 till 2010, and currently to Mette Marie Kongsved since 2018. He currently has a net worth of $20 million and turns 41 this year. He also left the Los Angeles home a while back and currently owns a Victorian mansion in Austin, Texas worth $1 million. His estate in Santa Monica was sold for $1.75 million. Cha-ching, right? Now comes the protagonist character from the movie, Aragorn, portrayed by the American actor Viggo Peter Mortensen. From Watertown, New York, this 44-year-old actor saw notable success in features like The Indian Runner, Carlito's Way, and even G.I. Jane. Ring any bell? Anyways, after The Lord of the Rings, the actor rose to fame, especially when he portrayed the pioneering psychiatrist Sigmund Freud. Even in 2018, he was the lead in the cast of Green Book, which won Best Picture at the Oscars. His co-star, Mahershala Ali, thanked him profusely after winning Best Supporting Actor. Other than acting, his passion for fine arts, photography, poetry, and music led him to found the Percival Press, a publishing company dedicated to little-known artists and authors. He was married to Exene Cervenka for 11 years, and is currently with Ariadna Gill since 2009. At age 63, he has amassed a net worth of $40 million and currently resides in Sandpoint, Idaho when he's not filming. Next up, we have the beloved English actor, one of the highest-grossing actors of all time, Andy Serkis. From Middlesex, England, he was cast in minor roles on British television, or should I say, telly, before his role as Gollum in the Lord of the Rings franchise, which became his ticket to success. After that, he appeared in noteworthy films like 13 Going on 30, King Kong, The Prestige, and The Adventures of Tintin, to name a few. His most recent appearances have been in Venom, Let There Be Carnage, Black Panther, and even Matt Reeves' The Batman. He's been married to English actor Lorraine Ashburn since 2002 and has 3 children, Ruby, Sunny, and Lewis. He also owns the production company and motion capture workshop The Imaginarium. He currently lives in North London with his family and has amassed a net worth of $18 million. He was 38 at the time of shooting The Two Towers and gracefully turns 58 this year. Here's an interesting fact. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Serkis read the entirety of the classic Tolkien book The Hobbit to raise money for charity. It was streamed on YouTube and dubbed The Hobbitathon, which took 11 hours. Because of this, he raised $360,000. Amazing, right? Now we have the popular Australian actor who portrayed Faramir, David Wenham. From New South Wales, this 37-year-old actor was loved for his accent and his excellent portrayal in many future hit movies like Delios in 300, John Scarfield in Pirates of the Caribbean, and Friar Carl in Van Helsing. He was also lauded as Diver Dan in Sea Change, the popular Australian TV program. He's been the top choice in many Netflix movies like Pieces of Her, 2020, and Iron Fist, 2017. Critics say he's about to blow everybody's minds in the biographical film Elvis, coming soon in 2022. He's been married to Kate Agnew since 1994 and has 2 daughters, Millie and Eliza. He turns 65 this year and has amassed a net worth of $3 million. Not as impressive as his co-stars, but he's been living happily ever since.
You shall not pass!
You shall not pass without liking and subscribing to this channel. Just kidding. But honestly, a sub to the channel would be great about now, because the next in our lineup is the infamous Sir Ian McKellen. Born in Lancashire, England, the 63-year-old actor brilliantly portrayed Gandalf in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. It was so great that he was also part of the Hobbit trilogy and appeared in many roles like Magneto in the X-Men films, the King in Richard III, and James Whale in Gods and Monsters. Even up till 2015, he was active in various BBC sitcoms and was involved in the self-documentary McKellen, Playing the Part. He came out as gay in 1988 and was married to Brian Taylor from 1964 to 1972, and later to Sean Matthias from 1978 to 1988. He's been a champion of the LGBT movement worldwide, and was also crowned the Freedom of the City of London in 2014. Turning 83 this year, he has a net worth of $60 million, a very successful number compared to his other cast members. A scary fact of his life is that he was diagnosed with prostate cancer in 2006, but it has been contained since then. He also became an ordained minister of the Universal Life Church in 2013, just to preside over the marriage of his friend Patrick Stewart. Cool, right? Lord of the Rings really chose a diverse set of actors in the cast. After American, Australian, and British, we now have the New Zealand actor Karl Urban. From Wellington, he was the 30-year-old portraying Éomer in the second and third installments of The Lord of the Rings. Other than his appearances on New Zealand TV, he rose to fame later as Leonard McCoy in the Star Trek reboot film series, Mako in the Riddick film series, and Scourge in Marvel's Thor Ragnarok. Other than his fame in the sci-fi world, he's been actively involved as the main protagonist Billy Butcher in the hit Amazon superhero TV series The Boys. He was married to Natalie Wihungi in 2004, but they separated in 2014. They have 2 children, Hunter and Indiana. They currently live in a $5 million mansion in Auckland, New Zealand. He turned 50 in June and has a net worth of $20 million. An interesting fact about his life is his philanthropic side as a celebrity ambassador for Kids Can. He was later announced by UNICEF as the official ambassador for raising awareness of children's rights globally. Lastly, Liv Tyler. Truth be told, this 25-year-old was a crush for the major fandom. Her earliest and critically acclaimed roles were in Heavy, Empire Records, and That Thing You Do. After her success in Lord of the Rings, Tyler appeared in Jersey Girls, The Incredible Hulk, and HBO's drama series The Leftovers. She's also been actively supporting UNICEF and was appointed as a Goodwill Ambassador in 2003. She turns 45 this year and has amassed a net worth of around $50 million. Thanks for watching, and catch you in the next one.